Okay.
All right. What do you want to do first?
I guess Don't Look Up, because I don't favor that one. I favor that one less, you know.
Interesting. Okay. Let's do that first. That's good. I also want to do that one first because I favor that one more.
Okay. Based on the truly possible. I'm looking at the because I have IMDb open on the side, and it's like based on the poster for it says based on truly possible events.
Oh.
A little depressing.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. That's so funny. I actually briefly like dated a girl who is like super environmentalist. Like that's like her big thing is she cares about the environment. And I mean, I guess it's you know, it is a nice thing to care about, and I consider myself I recycle, but she was in that camp of like I don't ever want to have kids because I think the world's going to be like ending in 20 years, and I was like, okay, that's ridiculous.
You don't think it's gonna happen, man? I think this movie is just something that's pretty like accurate to that. I'm like, just gonna get fucked pretty quickly. Like we're running out of water, man.
In California.
No, everywhere.
The world is.
Look, Texas, dude. A whole bunch of people just moved there, so the water. I think the aquifer is lowering at like the fastest rate it's ever been. So it's just shit like that where it's just gonna start adding up. You know?
So just more. You mean just more and more California poor water management? More Californians are coming here, and you're taking your bad water skills. You're bringing your bad water skills with you. They're not sending their best. They're sending the ones that don't understand water.
They're sending
now we don't have water because of all you Californians coming back to Texas.
Oh, yeah, first of all, you know where I'm from. Let's be real here. I'm from South Texas, so.
Yeah, where we respect water. All right, Laguna Vista represent.
Oh shit, dude! This was I don't think it was a fun movie to watch, but it was a lot of movie. Like, you know, there's a lot of shit going on. Like there's not like a slow beat in this shit. It's just like, hey,
yeah,
it's gonna fucking it's like a snowball for sure. It was just like, hey, let's get this going, and it's just got bigger and fucking. It's a lot.
Yes. So for those of you watching or listening, we're talking about Don't Look Up. This is the Let's Get Trashed pod. I'm Nick Tazzo. This is your co-host, Steven. Are you doing Steven Longoria? Are we just going to call you Steve? What are we doing?
Steven's fine, man.
All right. This is Steve. I'm Nick. And this is technically the first one we're recording. Might not be the first one we put out, but we don't know. And neither do you, because we'll never tell you.
Well, I think the statement you just said is going to tell people which is the first one.
Oh, never mind. If our listeners aren't smart enough to figure this out.
Okay.
Episode 1, Don't Look Up. Yeah, there is a lot going on. It is like super quick paced, especially when they have all those like transitions, and they keep doing like those half-second cuts of like to animals and stuff like that, coming back and forth. Whether you like it or not, I think that was like a criticism from a lot of people that they didn't like that part of the movie, and that it was too like social media-y and stuff like that. But I imagine that was the point. Like that was all intentional.
100%.
You know, so it kind of everything was moving that way. The only thing that spoilers, by the way, for anybody that
haven't seen a Netflix film.
Haven't seen a Netflix film that came out on Christmas Day.
Oh shit, it did. Wow, fuck.
Yeah, it came out Christmas Day. Watched it with my family, like the day after, a couple days
after
Christmas. With my mom, dad, and brother.
Did they enjoy it?
We all enjoyed it. Yeah.
That's
cool. It was. We liked it. I liked it. I thought it was really funny. And we'll address some of like the criticisms I've heard of it, stuff like that. Which again, I'm not saying they're not valid. I just didn't care. It didn't bother me, which is all you can.
Didn't affect my life, so I don't think it's going to affect anyone else's.
Well, I don't know. I think a lot of people might not see it because they would hear these like, the big criticism.
Oh, go for it. What was the big criticism?
The big criticism is that it's like, it's too blunt and it's too like it's too on the nose, like liberal echo chamber where it's like preaching to the choir, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was like the Adam McKay made this thing with like no nuance, that's just hitting you on the head or whatever. That's what I've heard. Even like, even my, I've got friends, and I live in Austin. Even friends of mine that I would think would love just a 2-hour, lib propaganda film. Even they were like, it was still too much. That's what they said. I was surprised to hear that because I thought it was not like, I don't know. I just thought it was funny and balanced, and I guess I think I got it.
That's fair. I understand how you could see that. For me, it was just like, it's a lot. Like there was so much compact in that film. Also, the way it was shot, it reminded me of like a cheesy, like it was almost like there was too much cheese in it. Like it was just like, it felt like it was obviously meant to feel that way, but it just felt too cheap. Like, does that make sense? Like
the way it looked.
Yeah, the visuals, everything, like there was oversaturated in some areas where I was just like, wow, this is like a lot of face,
Yes.
And also like just the dialect, the fucking conversations that were being had. Like they were funny, but it was also like, again, I think it was just too quick. I was just like, God damn, like this is what, like Meryl Streep was hilarious. I really enjoyed her.
She's great.
Like I've seen a couple of what is it? I guess the cuts, like the shit that didn't make the film. And there were some funny moments where she was just talking, like she was making up half the shit she was saying, and it just was hilarious. Like if I could have watched that for an hour, that would have been fucking perfect. But it was just a mix of everything that I was just like, this is a lot of shit going on. And yeah, I don't know, like the characters, I didn't fall in love with any of them. I was just like, these people were just all shit. I started to realize that everyone's just shitty, and like that's just life. It seems like, and it's kind of sucks because I'm like, God damn, like I was expecting like. Even like fucking Leo's character, he was supposed to be like the one that was, and he cheats on his wife, and then he fucking like like it's just
But that's Leo's character. Of course, he's awesome. Contender for like an all-time. Contender for like a desert island. You get one actor's catalog to take on a desert island. Right. It might be Leo.
Right.
But just because not even that he's so great, but he's only in good movies. Huh? He's not doing like
everything.
Yeah, he's not doing Marvel shit. He's only doing like.
Maybe we don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
You can't judge that yet. We'll see what happens.
But yeah. So before we get to that, like when you're talking about the saturation and just kind of the way it looked, and it did look very. I feel like every Netflix movie looks like that.
Yeah, dude. It feels
I think it's a Netflix studio thing because they're TV shows for the most part, except for Ozark, which has that like green filter on it. Like Ozark looks like
green blue filter. That's a beautiful filter. I love that shit.
It looks good, but it looks like they're in the. Are they in the Ozarks or are they in the blue Matrix? Like what is there? Is their Matrix blue?
That's. I mean, it fits the feel of that show so well. Though,
I know, but
everything else.
I understand that, but it's very obvious that it's like there's a thing on it.
Oh, for sure. A hint.
Yeah. It's super tinted. This is obviously, like you said, again, Netflix stuff. It doesn't feel like studio stuff.
It doesn't feel polished.
Yeah, right.
That's a little annoying. It's almost like watching Shark Boy and Lava Girl. You're like, oh fuck, like it has that. Like you're like, oh, this could be better, but like it's not. And I feel like that lowers the grade of the movie for me too. Like I'm like, could not be it's not as good. Like if it was so shot, like honestly, it felt like a little bit Michael Bay with like the cuts and shit. Like,
yes,
and I wasn't digging that. I've seen a lot of Michael Bay. Like I've lived Transformers. So like. I don't need
lived Transformers. Yeah, I remember hanging out and you had your car turned into a robot or something.
I was with Shia LaBeouf, it was the whole thing. It was
I remember you lived it. Oh, you watched Transformers? I lived
it. Yeah, exactly. It's different. You wouldn't understand unless you lived it like I had. But yeah,
well, except so these quick cuts, I think were again. I actually really liked all the super quick cutting and stuff in Don't Look Up. Which, by the way. I realized a acquaintance of mine actually was like one of the editors for the movie.
Oh shit!
Yeah, she got her film degree at UT. Nice. She was friends with a good friend of mine, from high school, and then I actually like helped them on their like senior film project. Yeah, nice. When I was, or their whatever graduate film project when I was in college. And so that's how I met her, and we are not close, but we were acquaintances. And she posted before the movie came out. She posted on Facebook like, "Yeah, I was part of the editing team. I don't think she's like the head editor, but she's on that team.
She's part of it, yeah."
But I really liked all that stuff. Again, I like quick cuts. I like that kind of stuff that's like tends to try to like ramp up kind of intensity, but in a in like a way, like for example, Uncut Gems was like super quick,
yeah,
in middle
of a lot of shit in a film, short film like that. There was that movie moves so fucking fast, man. Again, I don't mind it. I'm just not used to it. Like I haven't seen many films that are that quick, like that are like we're moving fast and we're trying to tell the story as fast as we can. And it's like, oh fuck, I gotta think, or like give me a breath, like let me relax for a bit. But like Uncut Gems is like, oh shit, we're on fucking drugs the whole, like
that's why that's what I loved about it, because that's the thing is, honestly, inadvertently the reason this podcast exists is because of Uncut Gems. Like I was done with watching movies. I was like, man, movies all suck. Yes, I was. Dude. I was anti-movie.
No way.
I was done. I was like,
when did fucking Uncut Gems come out? Did it even came out during the pandemic, didn't it?
No, it was like 2019.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think so. I think maybe 2020. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
But it was just like at the time, I don't know. I was just like, I felt like there's nothing good in theaters. There's nothing good coming out. Everything kind of stinks.
And then Avengers Endgame?
Yeah, that's what stinks.
Oh, also sorry. That's my cup of tea.
That was what I know it is. That's what caused my malaise.
I'm gonna have to look that word up because I don't know what that means.
This, like, I don't know. Again, I understand people like those. I watched the first. I gave Marvel 10 years. All right, I feel like I've given them enough. I'm done now, but I saw the first Iron Man, and then I saw the one where he dies, and I think that's enough of Marvel. I think I put in my 2 tours in Vietnam. All right, it's not my fault. Some of
you're a wounded veteran walking with a peg leg now. You're just
I guess everybody else is like still in it. That's like if you're still watching Marvel, if you've been there from the beginning, if you're still watching that shit, that's Christopher Walken and Deer Hunter. Like I'm moving back to Vietnam and I'm just gonna live with the gun in my head. Like that's if you want to live for the chase. If you want to never leave Vietnam and just watch Marvel movies for the rest of your life, fine. But I did my 10 years or 11 years, however, and I'm done. I'm out.
There's a draft, man.
A draft, yeah. The corporate, Disney, the United States draft.
Like, we need you.
The U.S. draft sponsored by Disney. The U.S. Disney draft. So everybody has to go to re-education camps and watch not Boba Fett, but the other guy who's exactly like Boba Fett, but it's different for some reason. I'm sure he is. Yeah, of course he is. I saw a funny tweet about Mandalorian and Boba Fett being like, they made those 2 shows. That'd be like making a TV show called Stormtrooper and a second TV show called Other Stormtrooper.
I'm watching Other Stormtrooper every week.
It's just 2 of the same kind of guy.
You're not wrong, but also like one's way better.
Well, the funny part is that, of course, he had like 400,000 angry comments getting mad at him for saying that. But it makes sense to me because I was like, I don't really know that. Whatever. I don't want to. Well, there's going to be plenty of opportunity on this podcast to listen to me trash Marvel shit.
Yeah. So start off with that. Let's keep that fan base going until we have to drag it.
It's good. We do need to drum up some like controversy to get some fans. So let's start off with some let's get trashed official positions. All right, we're anti K-pop and we're anti Taylor Swift. And who else?
Swifty's my favorite.
Who else has a vocal fan base we can rile up?
BTS. BTS is okay.
They're K-pop, right? Yeah. I'm kidding. I'm just saying. I'm trying to get. Those are
the generalize everything. Try keeping it.
Those are the most.
Try keeping it separate.
Those are the most getting mad at you fan bases for saying you don't like them. Ariana Grande.
Wrestling has a big fan base that WWE. Raw.
I don't, but they don't have it. No, that's not like a online. Yeah. That's not like a backlash. If you say you don't like wrestling, nobody's like.
You say it's fake. You got some issues going on.
No, you don't.
People think it's real, bro.
Not anymore.
Dude, look it up.
That was the 2000s. People would talk like that. Literally that video, it's still real to me. That guy, that viral video, we were in high school when that came out. That was 2004.
Oh. I don't know.
Well, either way,
that's a fan base you can't fuck with. Lord of the Rings, same thing. Can't just carry the ring or fly the bird with the ring because that's an issue. You got to walk it up this fucking.
You could have lava pit. Well, yeah, exactly, I imagine. I'd love to talk about Lord of the Rings at some point because those movies are good and they don't look cheap at all.
They don't. Those movies.
They still look
carried really well.
It is funny to be like, I don't know. That ring is not that big of a deal.
Dude, for real.
It's like
no one gave a shit about that ring or could find it for a while.
The whole point, all of a sudden. The thing is, like, I've got the most powerful ring in the world. Like, what does it do? It makes you addicted and invisible. It's like, neither of those are that great.
If you're homeless, that's pretty much the same thing. Dude, if you think about it, that's pretty much.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, invisible man. Up. Society doesn't see you, and you're addicted to something. Yeah, every homeless person has the one ring.
Oh shit! Dude, I didn't know that fucking what's his name directed a whole bunch of other shit, obviously. But the other guy, Adam McKay.
Adam McKay, yeah. So back to Don't Look Up. Adam McKay. I mean, famously of Step Brothers, both Anchormans, Talladega Nights.
Both Anchormans. I didn't know that shit.
Yeah. And Anchorman was early in his career. He wrote and directed both Anchormans. Was the second one I don't even remember at all. I think I saw it once.
Yeah, I don't remember that one either. I don't think I watched
Talladega Nights. It wasn't until and Step Brothers, obviously, he was making like hilarious, just silly, dumb Will Ferrell comedies in the 2000s.
He did The Big Short too.
Yeah, well, that's coming after.
Writer.
So
he wrote it.
That's him. Yeah, he wrote it. Did he direct it too?
I don't think he did. Let me check that. Yeah, directed.
Okay, I think that's the kind of start of his change because I think he's done with slapstick, silly funny like Will Ferrell shit, Sacha Baron Cohen, Talladega Nights shit. Yeah. He goes to The Big Short and he does like this satirical kind of take on like the financial crisis and all this kind of stuff. And then the last movie he did before Don't Look Up is Vice, which is
Dick Cheney.
Dick Cheney
being the president.
Yeah, being the actual president, the secret president. Which I haven't seen that, so
I haven't seen it either. I want to.
Again, it's a change in style for Adam McKay as far as like, I don't know, maybe I don't know what's going on in his head that he doesn't want to do actual funny comedy anymore, and he just wants to do like comedy with a thing with some sort of like message or some sort of like politics behind it. Yeah. It's again, it's fine. I like Don't Look Up. I like the kind of atmosphere it was. It did look, again, it looks like a Netflix thing. It doesn't look like a real movie, but that's okay.
Yeah. If it's where it's supposed to be.
And the cast.
That's crazy.
The cast is insane. And I mean, legitimately, Meryl Streep, one of the best actresses, best actresses of all time. Leo, up there. I mean, Leo's a great actor. Yeah. And then also, more importantly, only does good movies.
Like I think that's fair now. Yeah, even if he does new movies. Good movies.
Yeah, he's not doing anything that's like a property or like a series or anything. He's doing individual things that are written by a director. He's partnering with somebody to bring something. The movie where he fights a bear, The Departed. Depart. That's all like later stuff. Obviously, Tarantino, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, masterpiece. Even the older stuff, again, even early on in his career, he could have been fucking whatever. He could have been some
Tom
kind
Cruise.
of. He could have been a rom-com guy.
Yeah.
He could have
done Matthew McConaughey's role.
He could have been.
He could have
Yeah.
in that situation.
He could have been right when Matthew McConaughey was 90s rom-coms, early 2000s. Yeah. Leo could have taken that torch in 2003 and just been that dude and made sick money and hooked up with Jessica Biel or whatever, whoever was popular like in the mid 2000s. But he only stayed doing stuff that's like, again, artistic. Even Titanic, which is like a kind of a sappy romance. It's a James Cameron movie. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful film. It was the top grossing movie of all time forever. It was like, it was like the biggest movie ever. It was,
until Avatar.
Yeah, until Avatar, and then Spider-Man 12, fucking whatever.
Well, Spider-Man 3. Let's get it right.
Okay. Sorry, 3 of which Spider-Man? So it's part 3.
Tom Holland.
Yeah. So exactly. So Spider-Man 3, or rather Spider-Man 8, like,
I get you.
But that's even his big blockbusters are like artistic. Nobody thinks like, oh, Titanic was a cash grab.
I thought it was for sure. That one felt really cash grabby.
No, you didn't. First of all, you were 9 when it came out, so
exactly
didn't even occur to you that might be a thing.
Just trying to get some money. No, I don't know. But like, I think all the movies he's in, I fucking love Leo. I don't have an issue with him, dude. Jonah Hill's fun.
Jonah Hill. He's so funny in this movie. He's the funny. Yeah,
so good. When he's like opening the door, he's like, "Oh, do you want to come?" And he just like closes the door on her. I'm like, that was perfect. Like,
I love
that shit. It's fucking amazing.
I think I howled laughing at the they put the bag over your head. Yeah, that's the FBI. The FBI doesn't do that. That's the CIA. I asked him to do that. Or even funnier, he's like, they run the telescope at Michigan State. He's like, oh, Michigan State? Like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. We're gonna get some other scientists. Yeah, we're gonna get some other scientists on that. Our scientists go to Harvard and Princeton. You might have heard of them. Again, he's great. He's so funny and like sarcastic. He's as far as like he's the funniest part of the movie to me. Although I didn't write it down, but I can't remember. It's Patel. It's either Himesh or Neem. I know it's
Himesh.
Himesh with an H. There's a comedian. There's a very funny comedian. I think he writes for Saturday Night Live called Memesh Patel. Huh. But Himesh Patel is an actor who's in this movie. He was her boyfriend.
Yeah.
I like him in everything. Everything I've seen him in so far.
Oh,
he's great.
I just watched the Beatles one with him in it. That was
good.
I like that a lot.
It's a good movie. I like that. I like that movie a lot.
And he was also ends with no one knowing the Beatles existed. Just like 5 people, and they're like, "Oh, thank God, man! Thanks for making the music," because like none of them are able to.
No, yes. Talking about yesterday, whatever it was called. I love that movie. I hope it's better than any like Beatles biopic that they would ever do. Please don't ever do a Beatles biopic. If anybody in Hollywood is watching, just please don't do it.
Or I don't think they're gonna listen to us.
I don't want to see the Harry Potter boy and Frodo. I don't want to see them like with bowl cuts, like talking British to each other, like that song's never gonna make it. Like I don't want a British biopic. This was better and interesting, and I love that they don't explain what happened. They just kind of go with it. It doesn't fix it. It doesn't go back to normal. It doesn't matter. It's just what it is. So that guy's great. He's also, this is a digression, but he's also has a very small part as the cruise ship comedian on that HBO series Avenue 5.
Oh shit, I really like that series.
Yeah, it's a funny series. I hope it comes back for it.
I don't think it is
before the pandemic.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I don't think it made the cut.
Yeah,
but fucking that show was really fucking good.
It was really funny, and he was the stand-up comedian on that show.
I forgot about that.
It's been a while. Himesh Patel. So he's very funny. I like him and everything. Ariana was great.
Yeah.
I thought she was very funny, especially at the beginning. That first interaction when Leo's just trying to be nice to her, and Ariana's like, "Why don't you mind your own business, you old fuck?" After being like, "Oh, I have a tattoo of a star on my fucking shoulder or whatever," and he just says something so polite and normal to her, and she freaks out. Loved it. Loved when that happened. Although she was the worst part of the movie, which talking about pacing issues this film has. The fucking 5-minute song at the end that they let play the entire thing, despicable. It's we got it. I thought it was funny at first. It's like, that's exactly the kind of sappy, like, you know, bullshitty, like Hollywood, you know, appeal to whatever nonsense song that like they attach to politicians.
Okay.
But the fact that it kept going, I wrote it down in my notes. From 1:41:46, an hour 41 minutes, to hour 45 minutes. So it's literally a 3.5 minute.
Nice. The whole song in there.
Full song. Yeah.
They fit it in, you know. They had to pay for some songs, you know, and that was the one they got.
It's just
and also use it all.
That part is tedious.
Yeah, I agree. That's
tedious to sit through.
Bullshit. So there's some moments in this movie where I'm just like, I don't know. Like I also didn't like the extended ending or the double ending. Oh, nice cup. I like that. But like that shit, like for this movie, I was like, we don't need this, like, at all. Like, I don't care. Like I was like, it was just extended too long. I was just like, at this point, just cut it off. And I think everyone else would be happier. No one needs to see Jonah Hill just saying this sucks. You know, like I could have stopped. Yeah.
So we're talking. So there's a mid-credit scene there's a mid-credit scene and a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
And the mid-credit scene, first of all, I hate it. I hate this new practice. I will never forgive Marvel for this bullshit. And now that every movie has to have a mid and post-credit scene, which thank God. I mean, I'm done with movie theaters anyways.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
But if I was in a movie theater waiting around to, like, you know, waiting around through a movie that's over 2 hours, because God forbid we make a movie that's under 2 hours nowadays.
Yeah, can't do it.
Not only are movies longer, but you have 2 fucking post-credit scenes that you have to wait through.
You don't have to.
In order to see.
You just skip ahead.
Hey, you paid $15 for a movie ticket and $48 for popcorn. You better watch I want to see every second of this
okay.
shit.
So I have AMC A-list, so it's as many movies as you want for.
Oh, okay. So look, yeah, you're right. I forget you're a rich Californian. I'm a working class. Okay, I forget. I thought this was a middle class podcast until I realized that Steve was
$25 a month for 3 movies a week. You can't.
Okay, first of all, we're not doing advertisements for them, so don't.
I'm just saying.
You have a promo code you want to drop, Steve?
It's still one of the best experiences I have. I love going to movies now. Okay, so recently I've gone to see Eternals. I went to go see a Spider-Man. Okay, these are all Marvel movies.
Yeah, I know.
But every single time someone has been talking or fell asleep, I've woken up motherfuckers before. I'm like, wake up, man. We're watching a fucking movie. And these are issues I have every time I go to the theater to watch a Marvel film.
You wake up a stranger?
I've woken up a stranger. I was like, wake up or leave. Because I was so mad.
They're snoring and disrupting.
They are snoring in the theater. In the theater, fucking dude. Like
snoring, obviously that's an audible disturbance.
Yes.
I understand that.
How about being on the phone? How do you feel about that?
If you told being on the phone is terrible.
Okay, cool.
Any audio disturbance is bad.
Yeah.
If you woke up somebody that was quietly sleeping through a
Marvel
Marvel movie
was snoring
because as long as it wasn't because you're like, you better respect the artists.
Oh no,
that's
wake up. I'm also a little mad at that. I'm like, you come to a theater, you pay good money to see a film, and you sleep through it. I have issues. You can't just be doing that shit.
Again, Marvel movies.
Hey,
that's not art. These people, there's no artist to disrespect. It's not. It's just that's just all corporate horse shit. What if this person
it's one of the
person bringing single mother takes her kids to a Marvel movie so they can be entertained. She just wants to catch a quick nap in this fucking 3-hour movie about robots.
That's fine.
And Steve's just gonna wake her up was like, before
you
go back to
hey, this is a film you should watch. And also, okay, so one time, this was for Endgame. I had seen it. I went at like 3 a.m. to see the minute, or like I guess the 3 a.m. release. I was like, fuck yeah, this is perfect. Not many people, just me, my partner, just watching the movie, enjoying it. Solid. I was like, I want to go watch that again because I love that film so much, So I buy a ticket for the following day, Friday night, yeah. Get a ticket, go to the theater. There's a guy on his phone the whole time, and I'm like, no. So I start kicking his chair.
He's in front of you.
Yes, he's in front of me, and he's on his phone, and he's like shopping on Amazon. Like he's just going through.
He's not having a phone call, but you see the bright light.
The bright light is right here. I'm right here.
That's a disturbance.
This shit's going on. And I'm like, no, like you can't be doing that. I don't give a shit what you're doing. You don't have your phone out. I come from Alamo Draft House rules, so I follow those rules. I don't talk unless someone talks to me, and even then, I'm like, don't fucking talk to me. I'm watching a film. This is how my way of life has been since I was a child, and I'm okay with it. Since I was 12, when I was to go see 300 at Alamo Draft House, I was like, oh shit, this is amazing. Like those moments that I'm like, I need to keep this alive because this is what makes me happy when I see a film, so I want to keep it going. So this individual did this, and I was like, no, you can't do it. So I kicked this chair multiple times. I was like, hey, put your shit away. Otherwise, I wasn't even get the manager. I was just like, I'm gonna beat your ass. I don't give a shit. Like that's how mad I was about this individual. So he stops. He does. But then 30 minutes before the movie ends, like right when shit goes down in Endgame, when everything matters, he gets up and takes his kid and leaves. And I was like, you piece of shit. You don't care. Like, this is the most important part of the film, and you leave? Like, out of everything else that's just happened?
Imagine caring at this point. But, I mean, yeah, look, Steve, I understand. You're basically like the troops. Like, you went through Alamo Draft House boot camp where you learned all this discipline and respect, and now you're out in the real world and these punks are on their phones, and you're
doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, he's on his phone. That's basically like kneeling at the national anthem, like disrespecting the most important thing in America, which is a Disney film, a corporate superhero film with.
Okay, you're making these arguments about Disney. What film company isn't fucking owned by some other bigger company? I'm gonna say A24. It's the same shit. They're owned by Paramount or whatever.
A24 is not a studio. They're a distribution thing.
Well, they
just distribute, but they pick films. Again, you surely, folks, this might be our only episode because we might not survive this rift. But surely you can see the difference in, obviously, in order to propagate and to disseminate film, there obviously has to be a business element. But surely you can see the difference between a company that's cash grabs, and there's a difference between art, right? A24, they're a distribution company, so they're not making these films, but they are purchasing films from filmmakers or from studios, and they are acting as the distributor. They're the ones putting it out in theaters and stuff. Yeah. They are only, as far as I know, every A24 movie I've ever seen, it's not all of them, but it will be one day, because I'm going to watch all of them. Everyone I've seen so far has been an artistic endeavor. It had something, it literally felt like they were making this film because they gave a shit about art and film, as opposed to, again, Marvel and Disney shit. They're like what does Scorsese say? They're like theme park rides.
Yeah, you always want to ride one.
They're not. But so that's the difference. Is one's not clearly not art. Even though there's a commercial aspect to both of them. One of them is 100% commercial, and the other one is enough commercial to obviously make it worth our,
No, I get you. I get what you're saying. I understand completely. But just being a fan of that Marvel, I've been let down this year, not gonna lie. There's not been a lot of great content, but I'm still gonna watch the next fucking movie, that's not gonna deter me. I'm like, I still need to see what happens to Doctor Strange, it's gonna happen, and I gotta go see it. So yeah, shit like that where I've invested too much time already. So I've got same thing with Walking Dead. I'm still in it. I'm still watching that shit. No one's told me to. Everyone's like, why the fuck are you doing that to yourself? I'm like, I'm 100% in it. You know, I gotta finish it. Same way.
Yeah, again, I got out. You could get out. No, I got out. No, I was there.
I got the budget for it. I'm okay. I got that.
Iron Man through Spider-Man Goes to England. I was there. And now I'm out.
Okay, we're done talking about Don't Look Up.
I know. We'll get back to
like bashing fucking Marvel. You're bashing Marvel all the time.
No, well, whatever. It started because you were talking about something else.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, the song at the end is crazy, fucking way too long. You know, the tweets popping up. Again, it's all part of that thing of like distracting and you're not focusing on a scene for any long amount of time. He's trying to pull your attention different places. The funniest tweet was, "Don't look up, you Marxist skank." That appeared on the screen while Ariana's singing her song. She's dressed all in like white clouds or whatever the fuck. And "Don't you Marxist skank" is a funny one.
Do you think this movie was intended for a younger audience than us? Than us.
No, dude.
You don't think it was fast enough that it was meant for some like a younger group of people?
No, I think it's meant exactly for us. Again, our generation, you know, we're in our 30s, so we're that 25 to 42 demographic or whatever that historically was like who things were geared towards. It is changing now, but I think millennials understand this type of stuff better than like Generation Z does, because
we've grown up with it, and
they wouldn't. Yeah, they. Like I made this observation a few months ago actually, because I had an interaction with a student of mine that was like insane, because we were in class and he was trying to get some class materials from another student, and it was like they couldn't get it done because they kept sending each other. He's like, sending me the files. He kept getting his classmate to send him the files on Snapchat, and he's like, oh, it keeps disappearing. And he had to do this process like more than once or twice. And I was like, how do you not understand this? He's like, what do you mean? It's just like, it's what we all use Snapchat. It's just what we've always used. These younger kids, in high school, these younger kids, they don't understand this stuff as well as like we do. Even I'm a guy that doesn't use Snapchat, but I was there when MySpace was created. I've seen, I understand what Snapchat is because I've seen every iteration before it. These kids just come into the world, and that's what they think. That's what they think it is. So they don't understand. They just don't understand to use it or what it does. But it's like that. It's like that Narnia shit. Like, don't quote old magic to me because I was there from the beginning. Yeah.
No, I get that. But also, like, I think this would be a good start for a kid wanting to watch a film of like that deals with like current events and everything. Like, I feel like this fits more in their world because it's so fast paced, and it also covers a lot of subjects that they care about. You know, like I'm not gonna say everything in this film was like something I was like, oh, this is amazing. I'm glad they're covering. This was just like, hey, it feels a little bit like a cash grab, a little bit, just because of the amount of actors that are in this fucker. Like, there's so many people in this, and like most of these people are like, well, a little younger, you know, like you got fucking what's his name, Timothy Chalamet, and Ariana Grande, Kid Cudi, like. Yeah, all these people that are like a little bit younger.
Was Kid Cudi? I've seen that name. I don't know who that is. Was that her boyfriend, Ariana's boyfriend?
On the camera when they were like, he's like,
when they got back together. Okay, awesome. No, that guy was very funny. I've heard that name, but I don't know who that is. Yeah, he's a musician. I've never heard any of his stuff. But okay, now I know. Now I know who he is. DJ Cello. It's just such a funny.
Yeah,
such
a
funny name.
Those interactions, you see, like how that played out, like it was so quick. It was like, oh, they're back together, and it was like breaking news. And that's not that. I don't think that's it might be our generation too. Actually,
it is our generation. Again, that rise of clickbait nonsense came up. The fact Himesh Patel breaks up with Jennifer Lawrence, like he just writes an article. Remember that you know that crazy chick from the TV? I fucked her. He's like that made me laugh. So funny. That made me laugh. Yeah, that made me laugh a lot. Also, I've only seen 3 or 4 things Timothée Chalamet's been in. Okay. But I've loved every single one. Everything he's been in that I've seen, I loved, and I thought he was great in every single one. He was in a Woody Allen movie that was awesome that didn't get released until like way later. He's the lead in it.
What happens in that one?
Him and Selena Gomez spend the day in New York chasing their respective like boyfriend and girlfriend until they eventually, spoiler alert to all my Woody Allen heads out there, until they eventually hook up together at the end. Cool. Great, really funny movie. I mean, again, it's later Woody Allen. It's not like a classic, but I really liked it. It's on Amazon, I think. He was awesome. It was the first time I'd ever seen this kid. I was like, he's awesome. And then I watched Dune, which was I really liked. We're doing a Dune episode soon, folks. And then he was a small part in Don't Look Up, but he was good. He was really good at it, especially that one turn. The one time the movie slows down when he's like doing the prayer at the very end. I thought that was a good delivery. And then, of course, the part of the movie that had me laugh harder than I think any other section is when they're shopping for groceries before their end of the world dinner. Yeah. And he goes, "Where are those?" You know, Leo's like, "What are those little potatoes? We got to get the little potatoes." And she goes, "Fingerling potatoes." And Chalamet goes, "Oh, I fucking love fingerling potatoes." And he does that thing with the fingers and he clicks the fingers. Yeah. That guy, I just went to high school with so many of those guys, the finger clicks for any little thing. Right, yeah. Being like, any little thing, fucking,
"Oh, Cheetos, bro, fuck yeah." You know, like it's
just like, "Oh, I fucking love fingerless potatoes," or with the clicking thing. That had me howling. It was so good. That kid is great. I'm excited for that kid to be like one of my new favorite actors, probably.
Yeah, he's doing pretty good. I like all the shit he's in.
And then I have a couple other done. While we're talking about the dinner scene, this is something I noticed only on my second watch. I might not have even had this information on the first watch, but you're going to see what level of detail that Nick Tazzo has. Why he's such an expert film podcaster.
Yep, let's see how this goes. First episode, let's hear it. So 5 episodes in, I can destroy this argument immediately.
No, dude, you can't.
I will.
I don't know what Leo's wife. I don't know like what her occupation was or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I know he's a college professor.
Yeah.
And then of course later whatever, but they're in their family home with their kids. The wine glasses that they're all drinking wine out of, each one of those wine glasses is like $160. Those are like the most expensive fancy wine glasses.
Did they not steal it? Like, end of the world, grab them.
Did we see a scene where they became looters?
We saw chaos the whole time.
I saw Leonardo DiCaprio shopping for salmon and fucking fingerling potatoes. I don't think they were stealing anything. Maybe they did. I don't know. But
I'm just saying, like, I'm
just talking about like a set design. Okay. Whoever's designing, whoever works at Netflix, work as part of their studio. Whoever worked on this film is like designing the set. Like, how do we make this? How do we frame this? They're all going to be drinking wine. Let's get some wine glasses. Those wine glasses that they used, I think, are like in the hundreds of dollars for each one. They're like the most expensive, like, wine glasses.
Special occasion.
Yeah.
People bring out the fine china.
Look, I understand it. That seems like an extravagance to me. But
someone that can't afford AMC A-list membership for the movie theater and saying that's a luxury, it's $24. You just don't eat twice a week, and you get all the rewards. This is just an ad at this point.
I know. Yeah, okay. You gotta stop it. Yeah, I'm cutting all this out. This is gonna be edited. All right, our first edit.
No, I don't know. Like I get.
No, that's just a set design detail. Yeah. But I noticed it on my second watch. I was like, oh, I think that's that expensive like sommelier wine glass. That's fucking crazy. Yeah. So talking about getting back to like the plot, everybody talks about this film as being the environmental thing, the impending environmental disaster. That's like the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Is anybody talking about obviously the parallels to COVID and stuff? Because here's where I thought the one part of the movie that wasn't one-sided. Again, that's the big criticism. It's this echo chamber. It's preaching to the choir or whatever. This super lib movie talking about the environment. But I did like the aspect of even our nation's top scientist, Leonardo DiCaprio. Another Italian top scientist who's in charge of this country for some reason is compromised, right? He might have been pure at the beginning, but even he faults this science that we're supposed to like trust. Yeah, the top scientist, he gets wrapped up in the politics of the situation. He gets wrapped up in, he loves being on the news and having sex with hot news women. He loves going to different places. And then eventually, as the administration is like bossing him around and telling him different stuff, he's changing his mind. He's like, yeah, I get, it's not that big of a deal that we canceled our plan that was going to work. And now we're going to, again, I think that's, I don't want to get our first episode kicked off of YouTube for saying the dude's name, but I don't think that's
saying the dude's name.
I think that's
damn.
I think that's pretty analogous to our top Italian scientist in this country, who is.
I know this was a Joe Rogan podcast. This is crazy.
Who's compromised? Yeah. Now Rogan's gonna be gone soon. We're gonna step in and take his place.
Oh yeah.
We're getting his 11 million visitors. Yeah, I would call it visitors. A website hits because I'm still stuck in the 90s.
I don't think I want those people watching that content.
11 million people? They're fine.
They're good.
I'll take them. Well, yeah. 11
million. I'm willing to buy shirts. I'm willing to sell out.
No, again, that's not crazy to be like, obviously this dude is like, he's beholden to administrative pressures. That's not a crazy thing to say.
No, that's not crazy. I agree.
So again, that to me was like, people say this movie's so one-sided. I mean, I understand it's definitely heavy. Like it's definitely heavy. Adam McKay's position on everything.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was completely unfair because our main scientist hero stumbles. Obviously, he redeems himself and he has his arc.
Triumph. The arc. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if he's triumphant. He dies in a fucking meteor blast in Michigan, but
he dies with his family that he loves.
That's true. That actually is a victory because Steve Jobs' character. You're just finding out right now that's who that was supposed to be.
No.
The Steve Jobs character.
Steve Jobs, like, what are you fucking talking about?
The Steve Jobs character told him he was going to die alone.
Yeah.
So that thing was inaccurate.
Yeah.
The Meryl Streep death was very funny. That joke payoff is like
he's
like apparently. Well, it was funny because she's like, "You're going to die from a bronteroc," and they're like, "What is that?" He's like, "I don't know." And then when she dies 20,000 years later on a different planet, they're like, "What is that animal called?" He's like, "I think it's called a bronteroc." Like, I don't know. I like little dumb payoffs like that.
I get you. That was good. Yeah.
I just wrap it up. I guess Oglethorpe was funny. Like why Oglethorpe was the black scientist. I don't know that actor's name, but he was very good. Why does he have nobody in his life? Like, why is he spending his last meal with the scientist and a girl that he kind of knew he kind of knew a while back? Like, I understand they want all the characters to be together for the final scene, but you couldn't give him like a family to go to.
Some people don't have families, man.
I guess. I don't know. That felt like let me check through my notes. Astronomer I'd like to fuck, AILF, that was funny. I was like, Leo was funny in this movie. Leo's funny, like, I don't see what that has to do with anything.
Yeah, he plays. His character's good, yeah.
The only other thing, my personal biggest criticism of the film, as far as like plot wise and stuff that doesn't ring true to the real world, because obviously the whole like the BuzzFeed and all that kind of stuff, and the Twitter activity, and celebrities singing bullshit songs about whatever environmental cause that somebody tells them to care about or whatever. Obviously that all rings really true. The one part that doesn't is my biggest problem is with the news program. The Tyler Perry,
Good Morning America.
Yeah, right. The Good Morning America. That's the only news program that's like featured. Well, they do have Michael Chiklis, I think, does the Rush Limbaugh Republican news, but that's only for like 2 seconds at a time. That's always just thrown in as like a little counter thing. But the idea that news media in America is trying to keep things light and is not diving headfirst into doomsday negativity shit is ridiculous. Adam McKay can look at, he's like people go on the news, nobody takes it serious, the news is always trying to be upbeat, and that's the one part that's like, Adam McKay doesn't even live in America to think that the news doesn't take everything and make it as big as possible. Like they overblow anything they can.
I guess that's true.
They CNN yesterday compared Joe Rogan's podcast to the Rwandan genocide. Like the CNN article came out fucking 48 hours ago. So Saturday or Sunday, whatever it was, it was like Rogan saying the N-word on his podcast, episode 28, that could lead to the Rwandan genocide. Like, it's worse than, it's the same as January 6th. It's like, they take anything they can, and I'm not saying people should be saying the N-word. That's not my point. My point is that the news media takes what they can and they elevate it as much as possible because the fear gets clicks. If anybody went on Good Morning America being like, thing's gonna kill us, they would absolutely get as much airtime as they wanted everywhere. It's all anybody would be talking about, Yeah. So that was the most disingenuous part of the movie, was this false part of like, the news is always trying not to scare us. It's like, that's not what our news is doing. That's not in this country. Not what our news is trying to do.
That's fair. I think it was more of like, they don't want to say anything because they want society to run as normal as possible, so people just don't start going crazy.
I think that was Regis and Kelly don't want society to run normal. Like, they don't. It's not up to them. Again,
but I think overall as a whole, it was just like, hey, don't cause panic, don't cause people to start rioting.
Well, but again, right after their first Good Morning America appearance, they go back to like that newsroom, and they're looking through all the memes, and like, we had engagement here when Jennifer Lawrence said the F word, and then it dropped back down, and whatever. And then that news guy, Mr. Head News Guy, is like, White House is denying it. This story is not real. Like, we're not gonna run this. We're not gonna run with this anymore. Like, you've had your chance to inform the public. It's like, that's not what that's like, absolutely not what would happen. What would happen is, even if it was demonstrably false, they would just run with it
for a little bit,
for another 6 weeks until they had the next the next thing to move on to. But they would farm that as much as they could for clicks and advertising, because they're beholden to, again, money, and they're not trying to tell the truth. Not like this podcast, where we're arbiters of the truth. Oh, yeah, you're only going to hear the truth on this podcast. All right.
Oh yeah.
But, yeah. Come to us if you want the truth. Don't come
to us for the movies, but come for the news.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're going to be. Oh man, that's going to be so fucking stupid.
So anyway, that was just my one. That's not my one, but that's my biggest criticism.
What do you rate this film out of a 10?
Is that what we're gonna do? We're gonna do.
I don't know. I think we should.
Okay, I was gonna say maybe like a yes or no, just like a do you recommend it or not?
No, because that's too broad. Because I think
you don't think so. I kind of like that more.
I do too, but the thing is accessibility for watching these films, you know? Like this one, luckily it's on Netflix, but if you're watching something else where you're like, oh, like where'd you see Ghostbusters?
I watched it at home. I rented it.
Oh, I see, but you had to rent it. Like it wasn't just easily accepted. Like
no,
you know,
well,
like,
it's fine. Well, that's the thing. That's why I like the kind of binary system more. But we could talk about. I wrote down all the ratings that are on all the popular ratings systems. But so I'll talk about that in a second. But I don't know. The human aspect of it. If you were talking to somebody. Mm-hmm. If you hadn't seen this movie and you were like, should I watch it? I wouldn't be like, no, 7.1. You're like, what does that mean?
Giving ratings like that. I'm like, oh, it's like a 6. I'd watch, like it's a movie to watch, you know. But like, I don't know if you.
Well, I'll tell you what, we don't have to be the same thing. You give me you tell me your number. What do you rate?
For sure, 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. Okay.
Yeah, like it was a fun film, but like I was, I'm not gonna go like I would. But I didn't have this podcast we're doing. I wanted to watch it again.
Oh well, yeah, I wouldn't watch it the second time either if it wasn't for this, for sure. Or maybe down the line. But I would have, if I had watched it again, I would have fast forwarded to like the Jonah Hill parts that I thought were the funniest. I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna recommend this as like, yeah, if I'm talking to, I think you should watch it. I think it's pretty funny. I think it's like well done. I like the pacing and atmosphere of it. So I'm gonna say yes. We can talk. I mean, we should have done this before we gave our ratings, but Rotten Tomatoes, 56 critic score, which is pretty low.
Yeah, that's pretty low.
Again, that's what I mean. Even the critics who are probably in the Adam McKay like camp, critics have it pretty low. Audience has it 78. So it's 56, 78 split. IMDb is 7.2.
I just saw that,
yeah. The meta score, which I don't know what that is, but that's on there as well. That's 49. Oh, and then Letterboxd, which you and I, do you have a Letterboxd account?
I do have a Letterboxd account.
We should start Letterboxing shit.
We should. That'd probably be very beneficial for this.
All right. Yeah. Let's
do it. I think that's just showing like, yeah, I think, but we just can't, again, let that influence our decision, you know?
No, but if people want to like go through our Letterboxd, I don't know if we ever get any fans, this might just be you and me.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with it.
Which is it's just fine. I like talking to you. Yeah, for the time being. Anyway, Letterboxd is 3.2.
The time being.
Let me check out.
As soon as something changes, this is gonna be over.
Yeah. What is my Letterboxd shit? Okay, yeah, I don't. I just look at one. I don't have. I'll have to create an account.
Yeah, go for it. I think I didn't re-up mine.
Well, we could create a show account. We could create a.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll create a Let's Get Trashed.
But I think at that point, then that's still separate ratings.
That's okay.
Have our own.
We would just write it.
Oh, okay, fair.
We could write it.
That works.
Cool. Yeah. So that's again, folks. This might be episode 1. This might be later on down the line. But this is Let's Get Trashed with Nick, Steve. Steve, what do you got to plug? You want to tell anybody about your artwork and where they can find you? Do you not want them to find you? They're gonna find
you. I just make art. It's at Step on Hen. Step on Hen. This is my Instagram. Just follow that if you want.
Step on Hen. Instagram at Step on Hen.
Yeah, just
it is Steven with a PH. So Step on Hen. You can find me also on Instagram at Nick Tazo Drums. That is my primary occupation. I'm a drummer and a music teacher. At least until this podcasting thing takes off in a couple of weeks.
I'll be a film critic
when I become a podcast millionaire. Here, you know, end of April probably.
You're hoping for it. That's what's just.
But until such time as I'm a podcast millionaire, I'm a drummer and percussionist in Austin, Texas, and I'm available for hire. So, yeah, follow me at Nick Tazo Drums at Step on Hen. Thanks everybody. Let's get trashed, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.